there, everyone. Welcome to My Campus GPS Facebook Live. This is the place where we talk about how parents can help their high school student prepare for university. Tonight we're talking about the different parts of a scholarship application, because one of the best ways to prepare for scholarships is to know what will be expected of you on the scholarship applications. So each one is going to be different, but there are 5 basic parts that are most often on the majority of scholarship applications. So I'm going to discuss those 5 things that are required on most applications, and then I'll just briefly discuss 3 other ones that are sometimes included on scholarship applications as well. So I'm Janet McDonald, and I am a former, a former university admissions officer, and now with My Campus GPS, I help high school students and their parents prepare for university. So let's get into the 5 parts of, 5 most common parts of most scholarship applications. The first part, of course, is the application itself. So that is the simple fill-in-the-blank information, name, address, grade, citizenship, date of birth, that sort of information. The second part of many scholarship applications is an activities list. So this is a list of the extracurricular activities your child has participated in, and it's normally, the normal requirement is generally grades 10, 11, and 12. So it's very important to read the application carefully and understand what the specific requirements are for the activities list, because each one will be different. But here are some things that it may ask you for. So sometimes, like I say, there will be a time frame specified. It's normally grades 10, 11, and 12. If it doesn't specify what grades, if your student has had some kind of significant achievement in grade 9, then I would certainly include that. Normally they're looking for more recent activities, so those would weigh heavier than something, for example, that your student did in grade 8 or 9, for example. The other thing to keep in mind is that sometimes these activities lists will have a word count that is specified with them, so you won't be able to go over a certain number of words or characters. So if that's the case, you'll have to be a little bit strategic and, of course, put your best information first before listing some of the kind of secondary and third level activities that your student has been involved in. So it is really important, though, that if the scholarship application requires the student to list grades 10, 11, and 12 only, if they specify that, do not include anything other than grades 10, 11, and 12. So don't include that grade 9 information. You want to follow the instructions exactly. So the activities list, it may be broken down into categories like school-based activities. So this is anything other than academics, obviously. So this would be your school-based sports, school clubs, that sort of thing. Community activities, so these would be church organizations or any type of leadership camps or that sort of thing. Volunteer work, and then paid work. So these might be the categories that they list, or if they're not listed like that, this might be a way that you can kind of keep it in your mind and list out, your student can list out their activities in those categories. They will likely ask for the dates of involvement in those activities, and they may ask you to estimate the number of hours per week that your student was involved in that activity. And what they're looking for here is a measure of your student's commitment to that particular involvement in that activity. So if you listen to me at all, you'll know that I always say that for most scholarships, they're looking for quality versus quantity. So they're looking for a deeper, more meaningful involvement in a few activities versus these one-off activities in a number of different areas. So like a one-day bottle drive or a one-day fundraiser or a few hours spent here, a few hours spent there. It would be much better if your student can demonstrate that they spent, for example, 2 or 3 hours per week at volunteering at the nursing home or whatever it is that they do over a period of time, 8 months or 1 year, because that shows a deeper kind of involvement in that particular activity. And that is normally better than, like I say, these one-off activities and a lot of them. So quality over quantity normally. It may ask for awards or certifications or some kind of merit marker. So these are things like if your student's involved in music, it might be Royal Conservatory certificates or scouting badges or like lifeguarding, like swimming certifications or something like that that shows some kind of dedication and achievement. It may ask for your student's role or responsibility within the activity. So be sure obviously to mention any leadership roles that your student has been involved in. Anytime, if it's possible, it's good to mention any time that your student was responsible for a project or for people. So remember, leadership is not just a title like student council president. It's any time that your student has filled a need and taken responsibility either for a project or organizing an event or organizing people to help out with events. These are all demonstrating leadership. So it's important that if your student has done anything like that, if you can weave that into the activities list and later on into the essay, then that would be beneficial. So it also might ask for the name and contact information of someone who can verify your student's involvement in that particular activity. So this is not necessarily a reference, like a referee that they're looking for. They're just looking for someone who they might call or email to verify that the information that your student has put on the application is true. So that's something that some activities lists may ask you for. So I have a blog on my website with, it's called How to Make Your Best Activities List for Scholarship Applications. So that gives you information about how to make up this activities list. So you can find that on my blog on my website at mycampusgps.ca/blog, B-L-O-G. And soon-ish, I will be starting a 3-day activities list challenge. So I'll be doing running a challenge. I don't know if you like to do any of those, but this is a great way for you to, you and your student to spend just like 3 days and just kind of like a little bit of time over these 3 days to get that activities list started and perhaps, completed. So that it's done and off your plate and it's ready to go for grade 12 scholarships when they come up, which is usually around October of the grade 12 year. So this will be coming up soonish, and so watch out for that. And like I say, just kind of bang, 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 get this done, and then it's off your plate for grade 12 because grade 12 is super duper busy. Okay, so the third thing